Welcome to Whispers and Confessions. There might be a twist waiting, so please make sure to watch until the end. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Let's begin right away.
Reflecting on those days now, I see that I was living life like I was challenging every boundary. If I wanted something, I didn't hesitate. I just went for it. If someone caught my eye, I'd strike up a conversation without a second thought. Love, friendship, even raw pleasure, it all felt right there for the taking. I just graduated college, still trying to figure out where I fit in, caught in a whirlwind of freedom and uncertainty. I was thrilled by all the possibilities, yet a little spooked about what I hadn't nailed down: my career, my future. That's when I met Wendy, a 35-year-old married woman. At first, she was just someone I knew through a mutual friend, a chance encounter at a party where we ended up sitting side by side. But that night, the quiet intensity in her gaze burned itself into my memory with startling clarity. Despite the age gap, Wendy had this soft, almost innocent charm that reminded me of a young girl. Yet there was also a quiet burden about her, a subtle weariness, like she carried the weight of the real world on her shoulders. A fleeting sadness in her eyes struck something deep within me, stirring up a restless ache. It felt like she held a secret sorrow, a silent longing that resonated with my own undefined desires, a deep-seated want for something more that her marriage perhaps couldn't provide. Raising her glass amid the hum of laughter and clinking glasses at the crowded loft party, her expression softened. She flashed a subtle smile and said, "Sometimes, don't you think it's okay to bend the rules a bit, William?" Her voice was warm and teasing, but it carried an undercurrent of yearning. That tone and smile lingered, haunting me long after. Soon after, we started grabbing dinner together now and then, and before long, she was the one reaching out first. "My husband's away on business. I've got some time this afternoon," she'd murmur over the phone, her voice low and inviting. With excuses like these, we found ourselves meeting whenever we could steal a moment. One day, I was flipping through an old photo album at my parents' house, buried deep in a box of childhood memories. There was a faded picture from a summer picnic, and instantly, my breath hitched. Standing a few feet from me, a bright, mischievous smile on her face, was a slightly older girl I'd had an enormous crush on when I was just a kid, my older sister's friend, who used to visit our house sometimes. It was Wendy. The same eyes, the same soft, almost innocent charm. My mind reeled. The connection I felt with her now, it wasn't just random. It was like a forgotten piece of my past had suddenly clicked into place. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. This woman, the one I was entangled with, was the same Wendy I'd secretly adored from afar all those years ago. The knowledge stirred a bewildering mix of nostalgia and forbidden thrill, blurring the lines between my innocent past and this complex present. It made the pull toward her even stronger, yet also strangely unsettling, a twist of fate I hadn't seen coming. Wendy leaned in close and whispered, "Hotels have this way of cutting you off from the everyday grind, don't they? It's like time just freezes." Her eyes glinted with something unspoken, a faint smirk playing on her lips. That was the moment our connection undeniably crossed into forbidden territory. Every second with her felt like a fever dream. On a random weekday afternoon, behind the drawn curtains of a hotel room, the world outside faded away. Despite the bright daylight, the space felt still, secretive, and utterly electric. The faint hum of the AC amplifying the tension, the distant city buzz barely audible. At first, we were tentative, testing boundaries and feeling out the space between us. But Wendy surprised me with her boldness, unapologetically honest about what she wanted. She leaned into my ear, her breath hot as she chuckled. "Young guys like you burn with such raw, no-holds-barred passion, don't they, William?" It's exhilarating. Her words, paired with that mesmerizing smile, sent a jolt through me, pulling me deeper into her orbit. Each graze of her fingers on my bare skin sent my pulse quickening, making my head spin. Her gaze tore through every bit of my self-control. In a sleek hotel room on the edge of Manhattan, The hum of traffic outside was a constant reminder of other people's mundane lives ticking on. But inside, it was just us, wrapped in our private world of secrets. Every time her warm breath grazed my neck, a shiver ripped through me, electrifying every nerve. When her silky skin met my fingertips, reality dissolved. I was somewhere else entirely. Then came that unforgettable afternoon, a memory etched so deep I can still feel it. I had no idea then how a playful whim would push us to such dangerous heights. I was too caught up in the rush to see the consequences, with thrill and guilt tearing at me from within. Guilt over betraying boundaries I knew I shouldn't cross. That day, like always, we slipped into a hotel. It was a Wednesday, midweek, and the lobby in the quiet daytime felt like a ghost town, detached from the city's chaos. After grabbing the key from the front desk, we stepped into the elevator. Wendy's voice dropped to a whisper. "I've been counting down to today. Last night, I dreamed of being tangled up with you in the weirdest scenario." Her eyes danced with mischievous excitement. "What kind of dream, Wendy?" I asked, curiosity burning. She smirked softly. "Let's save that surprise for later." Then she leaned against my arm, her perfume blending with the fresh scent of her hair, intoxicating me. In the tight space of the elevator, our closeness felt thrillingly risky, my heartbeat practically deafening in the silence. Once inside the room, the space felt too quiet, too safe, as I scrolled through my phone. A naughty idea sparked in my mind. What if I ordered a pizza? It was broad daylight at a hotel. Wendy, under the sound of running water, wouldn't suspect a thing. It'd be just the right moment for a little chaos. I wanted to test the waters, see how far we'd dare to go. A thrill sparked through me at the thought. I found a local pizza joint that delivered, picked a pie, and hit confirm. By the time Wendy emerged from the bathroom, the order was locked in. "What's with that sneaky grin, William?" she teased, her hair wrapped in a towel, her bathrobe tied loosely around her. Her cheeks were flushed, her skin glowing with that fresh, post-shower allure. "Oh, nothing," I laughed, dodging the question. Not long after, the doorbell chimed. Wendy, lounging on the bed, propped herself up and frowned. "What's that?" Her expression was pure confusion. With a sly grin, I said, "I ordered pizza. Got a little hungry." "What? You didn't even mention it," she gasped, eyes wide with surprise. "Consider it a surprise." I shot back, standing to crack the door's lock. Then, positioning myself deliberately where the mirror by the sink reflected us, I wrapped my arms around her from behind. Her warmth pressed into my chest, igniting a fire in me. "Hold on, what's this?" "What are you up to?" she stammered, flustered, but she melted into me just a bit. Enveloped in her softness, I murmured into her ear, "Just stay put. This is part of the dream." Winnie fell silent. She didn't even stop the edge of her bathrobe from slipping open, revealing a glimpse of bare skin. My heart pounded in my chest at the sight. The moment I heard a stir beyond the door, a rush drowned out everything else. In that split second, as the mundane crashed into the illicit, a wild surge trembled beneath my skin. Then came the sharp knock, slicing through our charged silence, followed by a second, impatient tap. "Pizza delivery," a cheerful, oblivious voice called out. The room grew heavy with tension. I felt Wendy's body quiver faintly. In the sink mirror, her face showed shock mixed with something hotter, embarrassment laced with a thrilling edge. "Wait, are you for real?" "Hold on," she blurted, trying to turn, but I gently held her waist, keeping her still. Her bathrobe slid further off one shoulder, bearing more of her smooth skin. As my fingers grazed her, a jolt shot through me. Still, she didn't scream or bolt for cover. "If we stay like this, they'll see everything," I whispered, my breath hot against her ear. "The door's locked for now, but what if I open it?" Wendy swallowed hard, her voice shaky. "You're bluffing, right? Don't you dare." But her eyes, reflected in the mirror, were glued to the door. Her skin burned under my touch, her breaths quick and shallow. The way she leaned back into me felt almost intoxicatingly sweet. With a wicked smirk, I stepped toward the door, teasing, "Should I crack it open?" "Just enough to show my face." "You're kidding." You wouldn't really? Her voice was faint, but it wasn't outright rejection. I caught a flicker of anticipation in her tone. Her gaze shimmered with fear and exhilaration. I eased the door open just a sliver, the chain still latched. Pizza's here. Medium pie and a cola, right? The young delivery guy's voice rang out. Through the narrow gap, I glimpsed his uniform and felt his quick glance dart into the room. What he likely caught was a woman standing near the sink, her bathrobe slipping off her shoulder, and a man holding her close from behind. Their eyes met his in the mirror for a charged, fleeting moment. Wendy's body flinched in surprise, the reaction palpable even from where I stood. "Thanks," I said, taking the order and shutting the door. Just before it closed, I caught his expression, a tangled mix of shock and curiosity, quickly masked. As the door slammed shut, the room's vibe shifted in an instant. My heart still thundered, and Wendy's uneven breaths filled the heavy silence. When I turned back to the sink, Winnie hadn't budged. Her face was crimson, eyes glistening, shoulders trembling just slightly. "How could you pull something like that?" Her words faded, but beneath them wasn't anger or refusal, just a smoldering excitement. "Look in the mirror, Wendy. You were stunning," I said softly, my hand resting on her waist. She paused, then slowly leaned into me. I had no idea being seen could feel like this. "It's wrong, but it's intoxicating," she admitted, trailing off as she shut her eyes. What came next wasn't just a hug. We dove deeper, exploring something raw and undeniable. Her skin was fever-hot and velvety, every touch, every brush of her fingers, sparking a desperate ache. Our desires swallowed us whole in that moment, drowning out any whisper of guilt. Even in that charged silence, I sensed a bond beyond the physical, a shared defiance, a silent pact against the world outside. The pizza box sat untouched in the corner. It was the last thing on our minds. This room, this hotel, fed a hunger far more urgent. Wendy drifted from the sink and perched on the bed's edge. Her bathrobe hung open, exposing her delicate shoulders and flawless skin without a hint of reservation. Head tilted down, strands of hair shadowing her face. She looked impossibly seductive, definitely not my imagination. "I knew someone could see me, and I didn't run," she said, her voice quiet but firm. Her eyes swirled with shame and thrill, a faint smile curling her lips. "Yeah, I saw that," I replied gently, meeting her gaze. "It scared me. But the adrenaline rush, it was stronger," she confessed, lifting her face a little. As we spoke, our eyes locked, free of regret or embarrassment, just a shared, conspiratorial closeness. I sat beside her, my hand on her shoulder. Then Wendy let the bathrobe fall away completely, baring herself to me. Her skin shimmered under the dim light, and for a moment, I couldn't breathe. "Listen, I can't stop this now. Not anymore," she whispered, inching closer. My restraint melted away once more. We tumbled onto the bed, bodies entwined as our lips crashed together. Hers were scorching and plush, and with every mingled breath, a current of heat surged through me. Kissing down her neck, I drew soft moans from her, her slender fingers digging into my back. Our sweat-slicked skin slid against the sheets, every friction igniting raw need, pulling us under. Each time her body shuddered in my arms, my hunger flared hotter, her eyes blazing with need and ecstasy. Her face held a mix of torment and bliss, and in that tangled storm of emotion, I felt a profound relief. Her every gasp mirrored my own desperate want. That thought alone flooded me with joy. It was a connection I hadn't known I craved until now. The faint glow of afternoon light slipped through the curtains, and the clock had long ticked past our agreed time. Wendy nestled her face into my chest, murmuring, "With you, I turn into someone else. I crave things I'd never dare to otherwise. It's like finding a part of myself I'd forgotten, a freedom I hadn't realized I was missing, a passion that my life with my husband simply doesn't offer anymore." Her voice quivered but held warmth. "Does that scare you?" I asked, running my fingers through her hair. "I don't know, but I don't hate it. Honestly, I'm glad to feel this alive. I haven't felt this alive in so long, Not in years, she said with a small smile, looking up at me. I didn't reply with words. Holding her close in silence felt more right for us just then. The room still buzzed with the afterglow of our recklessness, and the heat between us refused to cool. That day, we both knew without a doubt that no matter how hidden or risky this affair was, there was no turning back. And I was okay with that. Wendy had become too big a part of me. Checkout time was way behind us. Guess we should head out soon, she said, her voice sounding distant. The AC's chill brushed over our dried sweat. The sheets were a mess, her bathrobe discarded at the bed's edge, and the lingering heat of our encounter clung to every corner of the room. As the clock ticked on, the reality that this stolen moment would end crept closer, heavy and quiet. Earlier, do you think that delivery guy really saw it all? Wendy asked, returning from the bathroom, towel drying her hair. Her tone mixed playfulness with a knowing laugh at her own daring. Her eyes still sparkling. Well, with the mirror, he probably caught on, I teased with a grin. Oh God, no way. I can't tell a soul about this, she laughed, her cheeks flushing. Don't worry, it's a secret I'll take to the grave, I said, clasping her hand, and we shared a laugh. It wasn't a spoken pact, just a memory that belonged to us alone. Keeping a secret is heavy, no doubt, but sometimes that weight ties people together in ways nothing else can. That afternoon, the words we traded by the hotel sink, the gaze we sensed from beyond the door, and most of all, Wendy's unguarded expressions. Every detail is still razor-sharp in my mind. What's the plan for next time? I muttered under my breath. Wendy, shaking out her hair with the towel, tilted her head with a smirk. If there's a next time, I bet we'll stir up trouble again, she said, her eyes glinting with mischief. I'm cool with that, I replied, giving her hand a gentle squeeze. Really? Then maybe next time, forget pizza. How about a camera? She quipped, pressing a finger to her lips in a final teasing gesture. That mischievous glint was impossibly endearing, and I couldn't help but fantasize about our next stolen afternoon. Deep down, though, I know this can't go on forever. One day, reality will drag one of us back. This stolen happiness, tinged with guilt, could unravel at any moment, and the thought often lingered, a quiet hum beneath the surface of my joy. Still, having days like this every so often, I told myself it's enough. It's a bittersweet freedom, a fleeting escape that feels profoundly real. Yeah, I said with a smile, and she nodded in return. Her words felt a touch dramatic, a bit wistful, yet endlessly tender. Just before the door shut, we shared one last kiss. It wasn't fiery or desperate, just a soft, lingering kiss that sank deep into my chest, a memory to hold on to. Then the door closed. The world slipped back into its quiet routine, but the thrill, the intimacy, and that lingering guilt from that afternoon still sneak up on me, rising from the depths of my mind. It's an afternoon locked away in my mind forever, but without question, it was pure happiness, a moment of pure, unadulterated bliss despite the shadows. Even now, I wouldn't trade that memory for anything. The faint scent of her perfume still lingers in my mind.